What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. So for those of you who know and have seen my recent review on the Morelia Neo 4 betas, I really enjoy these true to size. Now I've sort of fussed with the sizing a little bit, but today I want to bring you a review of the non-beta in the same exact colorway here. My goal is to get a chance to show you guys the differences between the two, and then of course we will get into a comparison video once I've had a chance to test these out a little bit, and I have a really good feeling for the differences between the two boots as far as fit and feel, and of course the materials. So without further ado, let's hop into the unboxing straight away. So for all made in Japan Mizuno products, you do get a very simple matte black box. You have the Made in Japan logo embossed in gold here with the gold running bird logo. Very nice touch there. Blank on pretty much every side except for the sizing chart. So these are in my normal 27 centimeters, which is a US 9, a UK 8, and a Euro 42. These, of course, being in this absolutely beautiful Volt colorway, which I can show you right there. I'll move this up. There you go. So it's basically in this colorway, exact same boot, except the non-beta version. And of course, we'll go over differences once we get these unboxed. So there's your sizing. And we'll get these straight away. So these are thanks to the Boot Chef. As you guys know from a lot of boots that I get in, some of these are really, really hard to find. The non-beta version in particular is very difficult to find. And so Boot Chef was kind enough to send these out to me. So I'll open this little, got this little care package, which is awesome. The Boot Chef, you can check him out on Instagram. And it just says, thank you. How does it feel supporting small business and saving money at the same time? Thanks for choosing Boot Chef. Share the love. Tag at the Boot Chef for $10 off your next order. So there you go. And then you got a little return policy, which is great. And then you've got the invoice. And then really cool, I got a Hypervenom and a Superfly 4 keychain, which is super sick. So thank you very much to the Boot Chef. Go check him out on Instagram. Drop him a follow. He's got some great stuff, including obviously some Mizuno boots. So here we go. Bam. Wow. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. So nice. These look absolutely insane. Oh, yes. I cannot wait to try these. Okay, let's get these unboxed. And of course, we have the tiny little Made in Japan, really low quality bag, but it's there anyway. Some boot brands don't even do bags, so fair enough. So here we go. Let's get these down there, and then you've got the boots right here. So here we go. Let's go over a little bit of the tech specs first, and then we'll show you guys. Actually, maybe I'll pop this one down there as well to give you guys a good comparison, and of course we'll get through to the comparison as well. One of the things straight away that I'm noticing about these is, of course, the midfoot material, the heel area, the lacing system being kind of the major one, but overall these are very, very similar. Same sole plate, same beautiful leather quality in the front, and yeah, these are going to be a really fun boot to test out, I reckon, especially because you have essentially unlimited adjustability here in the lacing system area. So here we go. So these are the Made in Japan Mizuno Morelia Neo 4 non-beta. I don't have to say that out loud. So basically you get a premium K leather in the forefoot, which is absolutely buttery soft. So fantastic. As you guys know, Mizuno quality leather is out of this world. Really, really excellent here in the forefoot area. You have the BF synthetic leather midfoot. So basically different from the kind of mesh material. If you can see the differences in that mesh material, instead of having almost like a knit with a construction, you've got like an internal cage on the beta edition with a little bit of a mesh and then like a coating, synthetic coating over the top. This is actually just like a synthetic leather material, which is really, really fantastic. You see very similar stuff on the Asics boots. You see very similar stuff on synthetic Adidas boots in the past. So this is almost like a kind of a sticky hybrid touch material almost. I would say the quality of this stuff is pretty pretty hard to beat, to be honest, but it is really, really nice and actually feels quite a bit like leather, which is pretty insane. Very, very cool. From a sole plate perspective, it's the same nylon, graded nylon outsole. It's slightly different than the Morelia Neo 3 and Neo 3 Beta. This obviously being the exact same sole plate. This one you can see I've used quite a bit with all the turf stains, but it's the exact same sole plate, same last, same everything. So that's, you know, you don't have to worry if you don't want the knit in the lacing system area. With a couple of the other differences, you aren't going to get a different sole plate experience. These do have quite a bit of snapback to them. I think they feel really natural on feet. That being said, I think one of the complaints about this generation, the 4 beta and non-beta, is that the sole plate hasn't really changed since like Gen 1 basically. And I think a lot of people found that because they haven't changed that much, is it worth an upgrade? With the price hike, they're now like $15 or $20 more expensive depending on where you are. Certain regions, they're absolutely mega expensive, like here in Australia and then over in the US. In basically non-Asian markets, made in Japan Mizuno boots are astronomically expensive. And certain states in the United States can't actually get leather football boots at all. Like California, for whatever stupid reason, doesn't allow kangaroo leather football boots anymore, which is a whole thing. But so they're basically like, people are having to like smuggle them into the state, which is kind of weird. And obviously football being a massive, massive popular sport in California, you kind of expect that to happen a little bit, especially with the quality of made in Japan Mizuno products and not a lot of leather alternatives, unfortunately, especially with people who really like leather boots. So one of the complaints again is that you don't really have a difference in the 4 versus the 3. I've reviewed a couple different pairs of the 3 and they're great football boots. These have a slightly different shape to them as far as the beta goes. I'm sure these will be very similar, even though they're on a very similar last. So that's something to be just kind of aware of, I guess. But overall, these feel really, really nice. I would say that out of the box, interestingly enough, I don't feel like these are as premium. Like it doesn't, maybe it's because these are broken in and I'm a little bit biased now, but it almost doesn't feel as premium in the forefoot area. I think, I'm sure it's the same leather. Maybe it's just because these are the non-beta versions, so they don't get the like same just crazy treatment. It's the same premium leather, but it just doesn't feel straight out of the box as insanely soft and premium and thin as the beta version. Maybe that's a liner thing, maybe that's something else. But if we take this little pad out, and there's a little sticker as well, like these are still buttery, buttery soft. Don't get me wrong. These are a very, very, very nice pair of football boots, but just for whatever reason, yeah, they just don't feel quite as buttery soft. This still basically kicks the crap out of anything else on the market, but it is what it is. One of the things that's really nice about Mizuno products is they usually give what's called the wave lacing system, which is where the laces kind of go up and down in a wave pattern, kind of zigzag back and forth. What that does is just provide a really nice lock around your foot when you tie the laces tight, especially because it's a wider and deeper lacing system. You have quite a lot of real estate to make sure that you can get the most customized fit and feel, especially anywhere where this lacing system gets into the leather. You're gonna have plenty of flex and break-in period, and then as well you're going to have a really nice amount of lockdown here with this running bird logo, which actually adds, because it's a non-stretchy synthetic, it's going to add a little bit of lateral stability there in the midfoot, both on the lateral and here on the medial side. The heel area remains kind of the same from the beta version. It's basically the same. So you do have, except because obviously there's a little bit of knit material here on the collar area, this is just the seam of this BF, excuse me, synthetic midfoot area. So you have this little piece of knit, which is absolutely pointless. I pointed that out in the last non-beta review that I did. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, what is that doing here? But it is the same really lovely suede liner. So you've got a really nice amount of anti-slip material here on the back heel padding, and then you've got the heel padding that basically cup your Achilles tendon like that, like where my finger is, and then it opens up a little bit here in the heel so that when you get locked in, with of course the addition of the runner's knot, which is really nice, you pull that tight, pulls all of the material back towards your ankle, and then locks your foot straight into the heel area, which feels super, super nice on the beta edition as well as these non-beta, which is awesome. I'm excited to see what sort of the updates are from the previous generation as far as fit and feel goes. I imagine comfort will be slightly improved, similar to how the beta edition was. I would guess also the fact that I've finally gotten the freaking sizing correct. I imagine these are gonna fit really, really well. Of course, I will show you guys what the sizing looks like in the on-feet portion of the video. And yeah, let's get straight to it. I think these are gonna be a really nice addition to the rotation, especially because they have such a customizable fit and feel in addition to those runner's knots, which the beta version doesn't get because it is an all knit lacing system area. So without further ado, let's hop into it. All right, I'm out here on the turf with the Morelia Neo 4. I know it is very, very bright outside, so I'm hoping that I can grade this footage in a way that doesn't absolutely blow these out. I'm super excited to try these on. Let's get straight into it. So here we go. B-Cam is in the shade, which is lovely. They look sensational, as you guys know from the beta review that I did of this exact same model. I think this colorway is awesome. I'm a huge fan of like the fluoro yellow or Volt colorway, whatever. I know you can't call it Volt because I think that's like a Nike trademarked color, but anyway, super, super cool. And we'll get these straight on feet. Now, these are much easier to get into than the beta version just because they have the standard U-throat tongue right away. Very nice. Yeah, that feels awesome. As I mentioned in the unboxing portion of the video, and I've actually done some comparisons now just in my hands with a pair of Morelia 2s that have a different stitching pattern to the turquoise Morelia 2s, and they're also brand new. And so I did like a side-by-side comparison between this model and the Morelia 2, and I gotta say, this leather feels just a little bit less premium than that model and the beta model, just in general. And so I'm wondering whether that's actually on purpose, like if there are any differences. I know on the website and like in their marketing material, it says they're not any different. And look, you can do the runner's knot. I'm actually gonna try that just to have at it. I know they're technically not supposed to be different leather materials, but at least from like an out of the box feeling, they feel this leather feels still like one of the most premium on the market, but it just doesn't feel that like extra level of special that you get with that beta model or the Morelia 2 made in Japan, which of course is their like top flagship model. It's like they're, you know, they've made that one the longest. It's like the whole thing. So there you go. So see how that pulls this entire piece of synthetic, this like SK synthetic, or sorry, not SK synthetic, the synthetic leather all the way over, which is a huge part of getting the lockdown correct, which is awesome. So runner's knots, always a really nice thing. There's a little bit of bowing there between these two lace loops, but that will go away as this piece gets pulled further that way and basically just holds in the side of my foot, which is awesome. But look at that, fit and feel absolutely perfect. As I said before, these are true to size, so this is a 9 US. My toe goes right up to the end of that boot. There's maybe just like a millimeter or two of space, but that's absolutely perfect. This leather will break in really, really well, and I gotta say, these feel sensational on feet. I would say these feel slightly more accommodating. Definitely, not even slightly. I'd say these are definitely more accommodating than the beta model straight out of the box. The beta ends up feeling really nice once you've broken it in, but these don't feel like they'll take any break-in time at all, which is pretty awesome. And that's why I think a lot of people are going to go for the regular Morelia Neo 4 as opposed to the beta model, just because the non-beta version just gives you that like immediate customizability straight into the boot, whereas the beta model kind of has a predetermined shape with the synthetic material that is that synthetic mesh material that's right around the midfoot, whereas this is a kind of a faux leather or synthetic leather that mimics things like hybrid touch, mimics things like, you know,
Nike Skin, all that stuff, or Kangalite, excuse me, not Nike Skin. So yeah, very much feels like leather as well. Obviously this being a lot more plush and actually legit leather, perfect premium K leather here in the forefoot area. This does actually have the sensation like under your thumb of being regular leather, which is awesome. And it does feel like it's giving me a little bit of stretch as well. So there you go. I know that was a long lacing up period, but I just wanted to walk through some of the things that make this boot feel really sensational on feet and really give it like one of the most unique speed boot feelings, because they feel locked in and really, really confidence inspiring when they're on your feet. But because of the way the leather, because of the natural shape of the boot, the leather actually makes it feel like you have a little bit of wiggle room. And so you have a little bit of freedom to like wiggle your toes. There you go. Especially on that left shoe, you can kind of see it. So wiggling your toes gives you, you know, the shoe wraps my foot perfectly. Like there's no weird open areas or spots where there are gaps or anything. There's no gap here, which is one of the biggest pet peeves that I have with football boots. Like these fit my feet basically perfectly straight out of the box, which is unbelievable. So I'm very, very excited about getting in a play test and training in these as well, because these actually might be a game boot. I reckon just in the way that these fit in comparison to the beta model straight out of the box, I reckon these are going to fit even better once they're broken in. And for me, that's going to be a huge factor when considering, you know, training boot, game boot, all of that stuff. So there you go, straight out into onto the turf. I know it's kind of super bright over here, so if I pop over here, the boots are probably going to get way too bright. So I'll try to stay half my body in the shade. I know the color grading is going to be absolutely a mess. We'll see what we can do with that. But overall, these feel fantastic. I love the Morelia Neo and Neo Beta kind of shape. I think they fit really, really well. As I said before, the non-beta version is definitely going to be more accommodating for most foot shapes because it doesn't have not only the stiffer side in the midfoot, so in the lateral and medial side, you've got that synthetic leather here, whereas you have kind of a mesh-based kind of knit synthetic with the synthetic coating over the top on the beta model. That's going to be, and of course the knit in the lacing system area, which isn't going to allow the boot to basically completely spread open for those of you who have a little bit wider foot shapes. So that's something to think about when you're looking at whether to buy these or the beta model, but I would highly, highly recommend this football boot. The heel area is absolutely non-existent, which is the highest compliment that I think I can possibly give. Like you don't even notice that they're on your heel. And the cool thing about these is that they have a suede lining and padding that goes all the way around, like in that loop kind of right on the upper side. And it locks your Achilles in so seamlessly that when you're kind of up on your toes like this, and the sole plate does a nice job of kind of pushing you a little bit forward, there is absolutely zero slippage. And yes, I am wearing a pair of grip socks right now, but even then, like they feel so good. And I would say because the heel area is the same on the beta model, and I've had much more playing experience in that beta model, at least in the last month or two, those have performed perfectly well, zero heel slippage, and these are exactly the same. So one of the things that I really like about this model as well, at least from a personal standpoint, is that even though I tend to like knit in the midfoot, and I know I've talked about that a lot on videos, I do really like the knit because it makes you just feel more wrapped and more kind of like a one-to-one sock sensation. I would say that the thing on the outside of the ankle where you've got that gap right here, when it's a more predetermined shape, there is a chance that you get that gap because number one, this has a runner's knot, but number two, this is the standard U-throat tongue, which gives the upper a much more moldable kind of area to work with as far as on the outside. And so as my feet stretch and mold into the boot and the boot molds around my foot, you're going to see even more seamless kind of wrap around the foot. And that to me is why this boot is probably, can't say for sure yet until I actually get these out on pitch and train in them full time. But that's going to be probably one of the reasons why I take these over the beta model, just in a direct comparison. But we will be doing a comparison video because that's why I got the same color of both ones, so you guys can see. Touch on the ball is excellent. Super, super excellent. They feel incredibly soft. A little bit of padding on that forefoot, which is what you want from a leather football boot. And yeah, they just, oh man, they feel so premium and just like
every little touch you take is exactly where you want it to, because that's what they're very confidence inspiring. I think this football boot is awesome. Underfoot, the sole plate feels great. So whether you're manipulating the ball side to side, whether you're doing any sort of like lateral cutting, forward explosion movement, you're gonna get basically zero hot spots underneath your foot, save for somebody who's got a crazy wide midfoot and is spilling over the side. For me though, this sole plate is one of the best on the market because it offers just a really, it's very aggressive in the fact that it has a lot of like nice forward propulsion action, but you've got all conical studs. And so you have the ability to rotate, you have the ability to turn. And I do think that putting anything other than conical studs on this sole plate would really kind of ruin the, I don't know, like the air of confidence that this boot gives you. Like it really just is like, you can do anything, you can hop in these and you can do anything you want. It's not like a boot where you feel like I've only got straight line speed in me, or I've only got, you know, lateral cutting, or it's only about like striking the ball. This kind of boot is something that does everything really well while also being super lightweight, leather. It's got a little bit of synthetic, and you know, being so comfortable on the ball. And training in the Mizuno, the beta model of this colorway, has been an absolute joy, and I imagine feeling the same about these. So that about wraps up my review for today for the Mizuno Morelia Neo 4 in the non-beta, made in Japan. I will absolutely be doing a play test. I feel zero hot spots on these, and these are gonna be, I think, a huge part of my training rotation, because I think they are just so comfortable and just, they feel like such a joy to play in. So that's gonna be it for the video. If you guys got value from it, like that video right down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave any questions or comments that I didn't answer, or comments on any of the things I said. Feel free to leave those down in the comment section below. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.